Sam Altman's mobile phone. Oh, here
All
we
right.
come. Here is Michael. How's the coffee in Peru?
Well, it's excellent, but it's not from Peru. I think I
Oh, that
mentioned to you
you
that
did,
that
yeah.
I fly here with my suitcase full of coffee every time I go back to the States.
Coffee smuggler.
Yep.
I thought I saw Michael coming in there. There he is. And Arunima. Mmm. And
Hello, how's everybody?
Africa tune.
Hey,
How's
Mike.
Africa?
Hey,
Michael.
how's it going? Hey, Tim, how's it
Yes,
going?
Michael. Good to see you again.
I apologize that you guys have to watch me eat my oatmeal every time, but this is the only time I have to eat breakfast.
Breaking
Yeah,
bread, shared time and space.
breakfast is a long time ago.
So just
But
I mentioned on email that I need to leave a half hour early, so I'll be here for an hour and a half today.
Okay.
Wonderful. So shall we check in? We won't penalize the punctual. We're here. Let's check in. I'm going first. I'm checking in with a lot of excitement, brothers. Lots of beautiful stuff happening with me. Lots of technology being made available, starting to ground it with real people, standing in front of small groups saying, we're starting a mutual exchange system. How many people want to sign this piece of paper? And we're getting about a 60% positive response. So once we speak to the last group on Thursday, we'll have a group of about 60 people who are ready to experiment and play. And lots of people coming and saying, yes, I don't know what you're doing, but yes. So energetically, we're in a good place. So I'm checking in with high energy and feeling good. Who else would like to check in?
yeah,
Well,
no,
no, no,
go,
doing,
go ahead,
no,
Michael.
having, I was just gonna say I'm looking forward to this. I want to apologize for bailing on the last meeting, but I'm very much looking forward to sharing the video annotation tool, and I'm just excited to be a part of another great conversation.
Yeah,
Welcome, Michael.
great.
Who is Arunima? I'm curious.
It's my better half. I don't. I should edit that. It's I don't use Zoom very often, so it's just the last time I was on. But that's my wife, and she's upstairs in a meeting herself. Who knows? She might pass through the kitchen here at some point.
Well, welcome to Arunima. There's no need to change your name. We welcome the presence of the feminine.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
She's
Oh
amazing.
man, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, for me it's also been a good week, very productive. I think the my app is almost done. So I'm working on the PDF so that you can export PDFs out of it, see what everybody's doing. And also quite positive. Went to the mountains again with almost 120 people. Talked to a lot of people about what we're doing, and also very positive feedback. And actually, I'm gonna have a sort of a book release. The book is already released long ago, but anyway, we do it anyway on the roof here. So we have a sort of a roof party, inviting some people. There's some DJ that has a radio or worked on a radio station, which connected me to somebody on a television station in Kigali. So perhaps I'm gonna do a show there. So a lot of positive things going on. Also, my groups in the Netherlands, I have two groups where I'm also part of my own group, sort of the Abandonment group that we had a meeting on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we have another group that are more talking about, let's say, how you call it, human laws or instead of let's say the law systems that we have now. So as a part of a whole where also, let's say, a new financial system should be sort of surrounded by. So yeah, a lot of things going on here.
Awesome.
Blessings and welcome.
All right, my turn. I too am very excited and energized about whatever it is that we're doing here. The thing that is on my mind is defining what we're doing here. I've found the AI summaries, Paul, that you've sent us each time to be very useful and thought-provoking. And in the last one of the aspects that it hit on was defining what this is about. Is this about Economy 2.0? Is this about Dialogue 2.0? And as I've thought about it, I don't think that either of those is the unifying thread. I think those are both subheadings of what occurs to me as being the unifying thread, which is that I think we are engaged in trying to create a new commons. That's something, Paul, that you have said previously. And that strikes me as being the overarching theme that encompasses the other aspects. So I would throw out to the group that perhaps we consider calling what we're doing here Commons 2.0. And Dialogue 2.0 and Economy 2.0 are both subheadings of that. Commons, as we know, consisted of land that was not privately owned, and that has completely disappeared from the world at this point. Recreating land commons is something that I know is on some or all of our minds, and we've got different thoughts about how to do that, but that's not by any means the extent of what the commons is. It's much broader than that. And I feel like that's the starting point. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah, perfect.
Blessings and welcome. Although I will say one thing about Commons. I went to a Commons gathering in England last year. In fact, I just got the notice of the one coming up in October. So about 500 people. They've all been doing Commons for about 10 years. They've been going for 10 years. They know each other. And I went with a friend, Michael. And after the 3 days, we both sat down and we said to ourselves, they weren't commenting, were they? They were mostly arguing with each other about their own different systems. And we said, So there's something goes on when people who are uh, busy with the same idea, and when they meet in a group, they're actually different ideas, just happen to be called commons. So I hear you, but if we're going to do this, and it's a lovely invitation, what do we mean by commons? And why is it 2.0 and not 0.1 or 7.3? I'm just curious about that.
Well, I'll just take a stab at answering that question. I would say Commons 1.0 was what was here when human beings arrived on the scene. A planet with land and resources that obviously didn't belong to anyone. Hey, Yuri. And over time, as we all know, most of what that originally consisted of has been privatized, I think, and I think most of us think illegitimately. So the question is the mission that I see is to reconstruct a new commons. And to me, 2.0 makes sense because 1.0 was what God gave us and which we as a race squandered and debased and destroyed. So to me, this is the second. It's an intentional construction of what was destroyed.
Jury, welcome. We've all checked in, so please feel free to bring in your voice and let's continue the dialogue. Michael has a demo for us, by the way.
Okay, greetings, greetings. I don't want to rob any time, so thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. It really is amazing. The more I listen to last week's call, the better it gets. So,
If I could just jump in and share something that builds off of what Josh brought up is that I'm observing I think we're all observing this, but for me, it is this kind of it's a bit of a paradox, or is that there's this tremendous effort to consolidate the internet and to gain control over what is spoken about all over the world, particularly right now in the United States is a good example of that. And I think Josh's point is it's just such a good way of thinking about it, because what I'm noticing is there's this counter movement that is occurring where people are disembedding themselves from the kind of corporate systems, even if it's just in a little part of their life. And what they're experiencing is a type of reintroduction to a new type of commons, which at the end of the day, commons is really all of us kind of collectively being a part of something we share. And well, somebody can artificially take something, they can't really take our ability to create a dynamic commons anywhere we want. And I would never have met Paul, would have never met Yuri or Tune if Josh didn't introduce me to his kind of dynamic commons. And so there is something, I think, that gives me a tremendous amount of hope in that context, that it's the idea that a commons can be formed anywhere. You can take the physical land that we could stand on to share, but you can't really take the ideas that would have been discussed in that same space in a more dynamic way, if that makes sense, in a digital way or whatever. So I just wanted to share that because I think that's a good reasoning to say 2.0 is not to say, it's really just to say like a different, an alternative or enhanced way to have commons, to access a commons of some form.
Jerry, just to bring you up to speed on the 3 or 4, 5 minutes before you entered, I proposed that we consider defining what we're doing here not as economy 2.0, which was the first conception, and not as dialogue 2.0, which was the second conception, but rather as commons 2.0, because I think that is an umbrella that encompasses both of those things and much more. And that's what I've been stewing on. What is the unifying thread that ties all of this together? And that's what occurs to me, and that's kind of what
yeah.
we're talking about here.
Can I respond very quickly? I meant to work on that paragraph that you wrote about when you talked about Dialogue 2. And I fully agree with this, that it really, if you go back and the top node would be the commons. But you beautifully articulated the point that we cannot create the commons until we can talk about it, until we can find agreement, agree, and act together. That without that bootstrapping, how are you going to create the commons? First, we need to be achieve the level where we can actually cooperate, collaborate. So in that sense, dialogue is your original instinct was right, or resonated with exactly this is what because that's the sort of Archimedean point where you really need to counteract the centralizing forces and create a people-centered thing, so people can do it for themselves. That's the whole point. We should be able to do and empower ourselves to be ourselves together. That's I think so. So yes, I think if you and I see it's everywhere. I mean, if you I got a video clip for Juan Bennett. The whole interplanetary file system was designed precisely because right at the beginning of the internet, people understood that this setup is not what is required. This isn't what we really need. This isn't what we want. And you can argue that you have to do this, you have to create the incentives for it to spread. But once it's there, that's the whole point of the protocol. Once you got this protocol, you can devise a new protocol which behaves the opposite, the alternative way, the interpersonal or the permanent web. So the web is amazing, but we can actually be precise because it's a protocol. You can create a new version of it, a completely new way of working, as long as it is engineered to be indistinguishable from the existing protocol. Okay. So yeah. So I think I agree, and yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, if I can also add that something to that. So I also see, let's say, my coin system as a way to transition to, let's say, this commons what we're talking about. So because we are used to this, we need to go to somewhere else where we don't need money at all, I think. And but we need something to transition to it. And the other thing is, and that's where I also with my groups I talk a lot about. It's about envisioning this road. So not only the future, but also which steps are we going to take to get there. So yeah, which is basically what Josh also said. So economy to or communication to, it's actually it's about the goal where you want to go to.
yeah.
I would like to honor something that Jury said yesterday, and I almost have not been able to sleep since he said it. He said, "We are making the impossible inevitable." Whoa! So let's inevit together. What are we ineviting? Mike, I'd love to see your demo, and Tune, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your coin process, if we could. And Jury, do you have anything to show today? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's inevit together. Who'd like to go first?
Well, I can. Now let me pull up the link. I'm going to share in the chat link that you can all open if you have a screen where you can open up this video, and we can actually test if everyone can actually, in a dynamic sense, make a comment or edit something, if that's of interest. So let me pull that up quickly here. I say quickly, that's never what it really means. If somebody would want to begin, actually, it's fine with me. I didn't mean to jump the gun.
Personally, I consider the video dialogue element to be point number one on the to-do list, because like was just said, to me, that's what's missing. That's what's holding us back from moving forward in a variety of different directions.
Mhm. Okay, so can everybody see my screen?
And we have a different metaphor than jumping the gun. We're peacemakers here.
Yes. Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. In the chat, you'll see a link that goes to this same page. So if anybody is interested in doing a little annotation on this, they can do that. So let me know if anyone wants to get that set up. And if you have, you're going to be asked most probably to give like a little username, just whatever you wish. And then I will run through the demo here, and maybe one of you would be willing to interact with it as well.
I'm already in as jury.
Yeah, I'm in as Paul.
Okay, great. So basically what I did was I took one of Josh's Economy 2.0 meetings here. Bear with me here. And for some reason I am now, hold please. Why would this not be working right when I want to have it work?
Because
All right.
the way
I'm gonna...
technology tests you.
No, you know what's funny here is this should be pulling up the video file, and now suddenly it is not. Well, I mean, I haven't tested it this morning. It worked perfectly fine. Okay, let me. Can either of you play the video out of curiosity on
I
your
can't,
screen?
I can't play the video. I tried to click on it. It doesn't do
Okay.
anything.
I'm
Do
also
I have to,
clicking.
I have to press the load button, I suppose.
You know, this is well the I am gonna have to very quick. Let's do this. If it's all right, let me. This has got to be something very subtle here that's happening because it was working this morning and last night, and um, so if it's okay, can we jump to another person? I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'm just going to figure out why this isn't working exactly as it's supposed to be right now. So it's most probably something very minor that I need to tweak, but I want to make sure I get that sorted. Can we change plans a little bit?
Well, sorry, Michael, will you then miss what jury is presenting or what Tune's presenting?
Pardon? Oh, I won't miss. I'll be able to listen. I just would be doing some technical work on the back end here while
Yeah,
I'm listening.
okay.
You okay with that?
I I think I would like to share this CryptPad link. Okay, so I put that in the link, and I would like some volunteer to share their screen before they click on the link.
I can do that. Share desktop. I'm going into CryptPad now. Can you see that coming up slow?
Yeah, I can see it's coming
Yeah,
up.
do.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice and easy. Okay, just scroll down because there's too much text. There is nothing there, and eventually we'll find a section about keep going, keep going. Right, there you are, there you are. Uh, so click on the first link, Josh Communication Paradigm. Yeah.
It's asking me to click that BAF while I click that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, click on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should open up in a new thing. Yeah, okay.
To bring us up to the moment.
Can you
I
just pause it for a
I
second?
personally want to initiate.
Oh. So what you see here, that this last week's video, I put it up on IPFS,
Okay.
and just edit a file name for whatever is the name of the clip, or what's the topic of the clip, and some numbers. It's sort of seconds numbers. So it's basically all it does. It shows you that any video you care to have, you can just put it on your IPFS desktop. You install one software called IPFS desktop, upload it, and you can share it and or pin it, and this is really the other way around. The whole point is that I wanted the video to be there as clips, and I want us to be able to deeply communicate or collaborate on a page, be on the same page, and uh, and uh, and bring these two together. So that's a different constellation, different thing. But okay, play it a bit, because I love this. That
Two or three interrelated conversations.
Exactly, or
But
snippets
I've
from
been
a
holding
yeah,
off on starting them
yeah, okay,
because I feel the lack of a communications paradigm that is adequate to the conversations that I want to have. A YouTube video of a conversation is nice. It's a good way of sharing the conversation, but it does not include all of the people who view it after the fact. And
Enough, jury?
yeah, that's enough. And just one more link, which is really just a couple of minutes of the best clip by Juan Bennett, the guy who did the IPFS. Okay, I just share that link, and if you play it, we should be listening. So that gives time to fix things. So okay, let's see if it's actually, I should put it in the document, but I didn't have time.
Okay. In
Okay,
the chat, can you still see my
let's see.
screen?
Both the publisher of content has to host it, or make sure that it's hosted somewhere.
Can you see this? Is the screen still
Yes,
sharing? Yeah.
yeah. Just listen to that couple of
The
minutes. It's
consumer
well worth it.
must depend on that producer.
Let me play it again.
No. Yeah, reload the page. Reload the page. Just
The internet today
reload the
has been
page.
described as this big nervous system for humanity, right? So much of what we do today is carried through these digital pipes.
No, you are at the beginning now. You got
So
to
much of our
reload the
economy
page.
is just run in pipe, to where we have
Yeah.
the system where both the publisher of content has to host it, or make sure that it's hosted somewhere. The consumer of the content must depend on that producer keeping that content up, or they have to copy it and move it somewhere else and give it a new address, right? So this is again like this is strongly related to the location addressing problem, and it's sort of behind this. This is why links break, because people end up being careless and moving things around. And really thinking of the web of documents as in the abstract, kind of ignores the fact that really the web is not just a web of documents. It's a web of documents on machines, and that the notion or description of a document identifies the set of machines that are responsible for keeping it up. And this prevents people from replicating or being able to host the same content somewhere else. This is kind of like a book burner's paradise. And
Book burner's
this, like,
paradise. Yeah.
So is that enough?
Yeah. Well, it's yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Shall I stop sharing now?
Yeah, okay.
So tell us what we just saw. Explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old.
Yeah. So the point is that this is the beauty of the interplanetary file system, that it's not location addressed, it's
Mm.
content addressed. So you create you compute a hash from the content and figure out a way how you can actually use that as the permanent address. So anybody gets the same thing. So based on that primitive, if you like, that capability, you can actually create a web of documents which are permanent, unstoppable, cannot be burned, and and cannot be stopped, unstoppable. And based on that, we can actually have a far more resilient system. This is in the commons, okay? You can of course use encryption to not to or whatever, but this is really designed for the commons, and it's not. The other thing is that you can do it, okay, don't talk about that. The point is that when the capabilities themselves, the programs that you want to use, they have these kind of permanent address as well, verified. So it's really trust but verify. So the authenticity of the program itself is secure. So it's much more secure in that way. But the whole point is that this way of distributing, there are no choke points. There is, if you there is no domain name needed. Okay, so you don't have to, and the more people you have access to something, the faster it will be delivered. The better the performance of it will be.
It's a
So
bit like
that.
a torrent, or it's like a torrent
It's
system.
basically like torrent, but the point is that what torrent doesn't have is naming. It works like what the whole point is that, and this is a beautiful demonstration because of that paradigm that is really just using the existing web. It using the exact, so you have the hash, and it reuses the hash to actually get the clip, get to the point in the video. So I didn't have to code any of that. It just comes out of the very fact that it's based on that protocol. And so what the idea is that CryptPad, we have CryptPad uh, as a way of bootstrapping all this, but eventually you don't even need to rely on that. We should be able to have all these capabilities just out there in the commons, and people can build their own social networks and everything. And most important, this is the most important thing. This way of creating the commons, creating the communication paradigm, Josh said very well. And not just communication, it's storage and social networking. So it's all three in can, and it's everything is born interplayable. You can make it so that everything is local first. And not only that, although you use IPFS, but you can use IPFS so that you personally approve and share something with somebody else specifically that you are connected with. So it's not just out there. So it's actually means that it cannot be harvested. Okay, it isn't. You can't. Everything is high resolution connected. So only if you are part of this social network, if you are. And the other thing is what I'm trying to do with this is really it's a micro world. The small world in the graph networks is 3 hops. Even 3 hops is too much. If you go to LinkedIn, you got your first and second level of contact, and that graph is already huge. Okay, and So with that, the best thing is that is that you can create this and it will work, and there isn't a human head to point a gun at, okay? Because it's just out there. The creator can just walk away, gift it away. That's what I want to do. And the more people steal it, the more people. It's open intellectual. It's open source, not just open source. Because the whole point is that what we need is empower individuals to actually do it for themselves, even the capabilities. Okay, and that really is the IPFS enables that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think any 10-year-old will understand this, actually.
Yeah, but this is the other thing. This is the beauty of this thing that hopefully we can start work on it, use it, because it's not like get it right first time, but get the it right at last. And the whole point is and this is another session we need to have practice with or show you that the point is that we need to be able to have conversation about what we want and make this conversation in a form that reuses existing capability and compose them in new ways into wholly
Yeah,
new things. So it's really is a sort of new way of thinking about it. And the point is, this is what I do. I've been doing it for years now, and at long last, all the three key technologies that I build on, all of them are reached the maturity level when it actually works. The kind of thing
yeah,
that I can do today, I couldn't do a year ago because they were just not up to the challenge. But the point is that what you need to be able to create a page which is a multi-page, so you have everything that in your focal awareness is
Hello, and
actually on
welcome to
that
a
page. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So, but if I understand it well, so what you do is basically you cut up any video, you cut up any data, and distribute it in chunks everywhere, and then combine these chunks, but in a way that because you have
Yeah.
the hash, you know exactly, okay, if it's come together and it fits with the hash, then it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. It's basically there's a global hash table.
Yeah,
Uh, so you can always find the next one, the next one, next one, and you do it dynamically and all that. Yes. So it's basically you ask the network, and the network will tell you, yeah, I have the next bit that you want is here. There you are. It's really discovering the sources. So
yeah,
it works on the torrent, but the most important thing about IPFS, it's also got something called IPNS, which is basically you got your own cryptographic key, PGP keys, and you can associate a permanent cryptographic name to a mutable folder, a mutable thing. Okay, and you have to renew it every 2 days. So it really is dynamic. And when you republish your IPNS name, which is a permanent name to something mutable, okay, that's when the network gets notified. Yeah, uh, currently it's changed now. This permanent name is now resolved to that IPFS that hash. Okay, and every time when you change that, you have to republish. So it basically uh, makes anybody can publish, can be a publisher on the web without spinning up a server. Okay,
yeah,
and that's an amazing. So the I think the if you want to be a full node in the system, which you do want to, if you want to create your own communities or whatever, uh, then all you have to do is install IPFS desktop, which runs on the laptop or any machine, and run it. And that then you are a node in this whole network.
yeah.
So,
And
but
and
you
and,
can you
and
can also now with Pinata, you can actually pin this. So even that you can do away. But the point is that we do want people to be on that network because then it becomes so much more resilient
But it's different than having a blockchain running with sort of money that's people want to have this money, so that's why a blockchain keep running, and that's why your hashes are sort of locked somewhere. So you don't need that. You can just you just have a system where everybody shares
Well,
pieces of data.
eventually, this is what you seeding it. There are pinning services which you can. I think Peanut now it didn't have before, but now it does. It gives you a gives you a URL or a domain name as a random thing, and you can actually make sure that even if your machine is turned off, then those bits, it will be available on the network. But my experience that if you got 10 people around, or thereabouts, those things will be around. So because yeah, yeah. So I think it really is. It's the same thing as it was with torrent. If there is no machine is turned on that has it, then you
Yeah.
won't have it. But you can use
But
a
it's
pinning
also
service for that.
it's also another identification system. So computers are not identified by providers, and
That's it. That's
yeah,
it. This is the whole thing. This is the difference between location address and content addressing.
yeah,
That's where and
exactly.
the other thing that I've been doing. I can stop anytime. Is that I now realize that the most important thing any of us do is searching the web, and that's the most valuable thing. You should save it and share it. So I now every search I do, I upload it to IPFS, and that way I have an archive, and this is an archive which cannot be deleted,
Destroyed. Yeah,
and
yeah. So
and I
yeah,
yeah I think that's if you listen, please listen to that video because that's one of the reasons I think they actually created this because and I think by now they got the whole Internet Archive on IPFS. So dropping a bomb on that building won't destroy the past. You know.
yeah.
So
I need to bite my tongue sort of because I'm my issue is how do you store your data in a way that it cannot be changed. So if I look at, let's say, my coin system, then I want to have a place where I can store, let's say, transactions, and where that cannot be changed, so that it's sort of locked. And my
well,
idea was,
that's what
yeah,
content addressing does.
exactly. So you're talking exactly what I need.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah,
so
exactly.
what I build it.
Immutability,
Yeah, yeah.
immutability. Yeah,
So I try to find, but I sort of I let go of it. Making sort of blockchains and thinking
no,
about these things.
blockchain is just the wrong idea.
Exactly. So yeah.
Not
So
by mistake.
yeah. So I think you're gonna solve a very big problem for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very, and
Okay.
then it's done basically, because that's the only real issue that I see for let's say an alternative financial system. But we can talk
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
later.
Uh,
It,
and just
yeah,
one other thing, this is the thing that if you got this network of conversations, this new communication layer, where this is really a new economy because I think Gilder, was a great blockchain enthusiast until he understood what
yeah.
I
What
there is
is
a
it? Yeah,
video when he's attending a lecture about Bitcoin, and that's when it dawns on him. He can visibly see, oh, holy shit, that's not what we want. But anyhow, his idea was saying, well, if you really scratch the surface, all wealth is knowledge, derived from knowledge. You need that, that embodied, manifested knowledge. And so, in a way, if you think about it, the real value flow, if you can, the kind of thing that you thinking about, these exchange of information flows and connected to people and communities, they actually can be seen as value flows, which is which you don't need a separate money, it's self-valuating. So that's what it is. Because you can, because we because of the because I didn't say this before. The whole point is that you have all sharing, and the provenance of whatever emerges from the conversation is recorded in the commons and is visible and transparent. So you know exactly what are the real nodes in this, in the how the knowledge or the learning. I hate the word knowledge, although I think it does have something. I prefer knowing and I prefer learning because it's really a learning process. Uh, so you can actually, uh, the vision is to be able to recapitulate the growth of learning. You know that you know where you at, and that's another thing. And this is now this is now the if you combine the permanence of IPFS with the search engines, think about it. Each individual in this network will have a complete graph of all their conversations. And it will be just out there. So this is the whole point that if you knowledge has this deep intertwinability, it's a one big global giant graph, okay? And it's really the attention, the individual human attention or agent, but the human attention that sort of explores this and learns about that neighborhood. But if you look at it from the human point or the individual's point of view or community's point of view, that's strictly finite. There's no need to crawl. That's the whole point. You have that graph at your fingertip. You can actually call up any of that, and you can run algorithm or learners or whatever on that network that you reach. Because that's the other thing, it's not just out there. You really need to be connected to somebody who shared it with you or you collaborate with. So it's a really nice closed small world, two hops away, and everybody would have and that's the other thing. And this is what's true about what I'm doing now, is that at the end of the day, you actually have you have a complete record of all your learning. And if there's anything valuable in it, it will transpire through the collaborations or the interest or the viewers, because that's the other thing. Even sharing anything just to show both end of the participants have a verifiable record of that. It's a real transaction. It's like I gave you this, you and you and that. So it's a self-validating, self-recording transaction network. So if you have such a transaction network, you know that actually can be mined and understood why something is important, or what's the salience, what's the significance of something, some work. If you can have real measures, which is available to anybody who is in that network. Yeah.
How is that measured?
Sorry?
How is that measured? You said it's a real measure.
Well, what I mean is that this is it. The connectivity and the record is there, and you can devise whatever measure you find appropriate. It's like you because that's the other thing I didn't say this, that and each connection is named, and the meaning or the intended meaning or use of it is elaborated in a metagraph. So it's really it's more than ontology, but it's basically self-reflective and self-organizing. And you actually have you have information about how the information is organized. Well, and so it's self-applicating or self-revealing in that sense. And then, of course, you can devise whatever measures are appropriate. And it's really a kind of new network science, because the original network science made assumptions about the networks so that mathematical approaches can work. But this is concrete. It's it's not abstract. All these connections are real, and you can think about it and figure out what significance of that has. You can discover it and name it, and then you can run whatever measure is appropriate.
I think it's still a bit difficult to envision it.
Yes,
but,
it is.
But you should practice. I think you need to have practice with it. So just try it and see how it works.
Well, I think first we need to sort of co-create the network, and then we can see instance first exemplars of what it is, and do and figure out how to make that meta sense of it. Yes, but the crucial thing is that because of the permanence and the universality of this way of storing and exchanging information, that gives us a way of dealing with it, in a universal, uniform way. Yeah.
It's quite revolutionary, I think. This will, if you can store your data like that, that will really make a big change.
Well, it basically means, certainly from a personal point of view or a human point of view, there is a trade-off between latency and usefulness, if you like. I mean, or security and privacy and everything else. But we don't operate at the level of microseconds or milliseconds. It's a different thing. Yeah.
Guys, I only have about a half an hour left today, a little bit more, and I'm dying to see Mike's
yes,
demo.
so am I. Yeah. Please do.
Let it just be recorded that when we were talking to the 10-year-old and we mentioned hash, we were not talking about cannabis.
Darn.
Just let it be recorded.
Fair enough. Okay, I will. So I basically what I realized was that trying to set up a reset demo button to save myself energy if it got messy, I inadvertently deleted a very large video file. So that was one problem. And then the other is that there was just a vestige of an old directory. So I sent you a link that said, put your video URL to be video at this thing. It's in the chat. Add that and load it, and you should be able to see the video. If not, I have access to it, but everyone should have it at this point that's attempting to look at it. All right, let me share. Does anyone have the video playing or the ability for the video to play?
I have the video. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
Guido Preparate, yeah.
Great. All right.
First word about our upcoming episode.
Yeah. All right. So that's Josh's voice. Okay. So I've shared my screen. Can you see the video on my shared?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just to make sure everyone's views are correct here. So basically, when you came on board, it's a very loosely set up user registration. You're just basically putting your name in, but to add a user registration in the application would not be much of a step from here. And essentially in a kind of finished version, what we really have is a way to grab from available videos that are stored and either input them into this format, or on a website, you would just have a database of what you have uploaded, and then you could just grab it and put it into particular pages. So this is Josh, this is just me sharing this. And like, if you think of Economy 2.0, imagine if you had a page for each interview, and you had this application sitting on that page.
Yeah.
So that page, when you create it, you would add the plugin, which would be this, and then you would just select the according video and attach it to this particular instance, and then this would say be a page on a website. And then if you had 100 various conversations, you'd have 100 different instances of this application with different videos on each page having its own. So that's the general way I'm imagining this early on. So that there's two kind of features of this, and I'm just going to reiterate them because it's been a while. When you're watching the video, just adjust the volume because it's going to be loud for some reason. You can always add volume control here, but when the video is going, the way we're thinking about this is the idea of being able to find like an important component of the video and start a conversation from that point. And I'll demonstrate that in a moment. But as a viewer, I might be interested in watching the video in total, but as I'm watching it, thoughts are popping into my mind. Oh, I really want to interact with this part of the conversation. And in that moment, you would flag a conversation. So I'll just give you an example. Let's say we're about this far down and it's playing, and I want to just go, oh, this is an important topic. I can touch flag, and I can apply a label to it, or just make the flag. So you see how there's this flag now in place. So I'm basically just saying, I want to come back to this part of the video, and I continue to watch the whole thing, get the larger context. When the video is over, I can go back. Let me just drag that video away from there so you can kind of imagine you're at the end of a video. And now I can go back to here and I can say, okay, I have this unlabeled section here. I want to make a comment. So I'm going to go ahead and add that comment. And I have a choice of uploading possibly a useful document, adding some text, or a video or audio file. And so like just take the video. And of course, let's see here. I'm recording this video. I'm going to hit, or audio, sorry, I'm going to hit stop. Here's there's my audio, and I post that reply. Now I've actually just left a voice message, so to speak, and a person could now come to that, and they could reply with any various mode that's comfortable for them. So we'll just put it in a text message here, and we'll post that. Now, I've also added a voting system so that if you have a dialogue with several people going on and somebody said something that's relevant and really important and everyone feels that way, you can advance that as you go. And of course, you can keep nesting in the thread as far as one needs to. And then so you have this. Now, let's say somebody else here in the chat wants to hop on. You might need to refresh your browser. I don't know if you can see my flags, but maybe somebody can refresh their browser if they don't see them already, and click on that one and maybe leave a comment or a text or something. Can you all hear me?
Hello, and welcome to Economy 2.0, brought to you by the Silvio Gesell Foundation and the Henry George School. Mike,
Yeah.
When I bring up that link, I only see the video. I don't see the controls that you're using.
Oh, okay. So the the URL that you go to is, I'll put it back into the message. Bear with me here while I open this back up.
Yeah,
So
the
this
chat
is
message earlier on is just the MP4.
that's that. The video link is the one above it. So you want to copy that one, which is the one that says video uploads. That needs to get put into the load. There's, for some reason, a vestige of an old, I didn't catch it, but I must have done that. So try following this link to video first. And then you see here, this is the incorrect path. So you're going to copy this link and you'll paste that in like so. And then you can load the video.
All right, give me a second. Let me do that.
Yeah, I got that running in the browser, so cut and paste from the chat, loaded it, and it's up and running in the other browser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. I unfortunately, putting this reset demo button, it kind of reverted some of the code. I thought I was writing something pretty straightforward. It was kind of destructive. So, but anybody can actually leave an annotation. It doesn't have to be Josh if for some reason Josh is not able to replicate what you've done there, Paul. But that would be what we want to do.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I'm not maybe I could share my screen to show you what and you can explain what I'm doing wrong.
And while you're,
Yeah.
while
Yeah,
you're
I can
loading
see
that,
it.
yeah, I got three flags, so I've been able to go back to see I have three flags.
Here, let
Yeah,
me see if I can
I can
give.
see.
Yeah, and
I can
maybe
see those comments. Yeah.
if somebody, it might be valuable, and this is just the, sorry, Josh, that you don't have an easy answer here. Let me see if I can replicate this. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
actually,
can do
let
that.
me paste this URL in here. This might solve the problem, Josh. I'm sorry that's.
Okay, so I send you a message and I gonna stop now. Stop post. There you are.
Yeah, so click on that last link, Josh, and see if that helps you.
All right, hang on a second.
Michael, I've added that comment. You can see it. You should be able to see it.
Yeah, okay, now I'm seeing the video embedded in the video thread application.
Yeah. So now, when watching it, just feel free to interact with it. Do you want to, Josh, maybe share your screen and just interact with it with us?
Sure, I think, yeah, so you ended your screen share. Share. All right, so now are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so hit play. Hello, and welcome to Economy 2.0, brought to you by the Silvio Gesell Foundation and the Henry George
You can
School.
you can just advance it or
Belgian
drag it.
economists having another new.
This is like Interstellar, where he's behind.
I first became aware of Guido. All right, so now I'm gonna put a flag. And
you could keep watching the video, or
let's go to that flag. I go here to go to that
Yep.
flag.
Yep.
And
Now you
now
can
let's say I want to make a video response. How do I do that?
Click on reply,
Okay.
and now go to video. Now start video.
Okay.
And now it's running. So
All
this
right.
is you, and if you're satisfied with 5 or 6 seconds of your face, hit
Give a
stop,
comment.
and then you're going to post that reply.
Just reply. Beautiful.
And each user right now can delete their own content from the app, so to speak. This is all very loose framework, but yeah. So now, Josh, you can see that'll play if you click on your video.
Okay.
There you go.
Now it's
And
running.
and now somebody could reply to this conversation, or somebody could, somebody can reply to your comment,
Can
and
somebody
continue to reply to those.
can somebody put a flag? Like, let's say I make a 10-minute or 20-minute sub comment here. Can someone do that, have the same flag capability within my comment?
I don't have it in there, but I don't really see why we can't iterate through that at all. It should be pretty straightforward. Now, one thing I want to add is that I have to double check, but I have an instance that runs and basically looks into it looks to the database to see if other people are adding things. And I can't remember what my last setting was for it when I was testing it. It first was interfering with saving things, so I bumped it. But I've added a text comment to this thread. I don't see it yet, so that just means I might not have updated its checking back. But I can see Paul has added something. It showed up on my screen. So I can see Paul has made a comment here. I see that. But Josh, I'm not seeing it on your screen for some reason. But I can see Paul has left a video. I've left a text, and that all just dynamically occurred.
Oh, does Josh now need to refresh?
Yeah, I did set the instance to do that. I don't know. I can't see Josh's comment area on that specific flag, which I think was the first one. Yeah. And again, we're kind of doing something. Oh, there's the comments from Paul.
But if you refresh, you have to paste in the right video URL.
It should be working now with the last URL I provided, but
Okay.
the site itself is attempting to call back to the data. So if somebody in a different place has added a comment within a period of time, what basically does is it fetches it. So on my screen, I am seeing, without touching anything, Paul's video comment and my text reply to Josh's video. And obviously somebody can now reply to one of our comments and keep the thread going down deeper. Josh, your point, I'm pretty sure I can replicate the same system for video and audio files, to kind of identify that specific area in a conversation. That's something. I don't see why we couldn't do that. So that's totally doable. And then, but this is how it works essentially. And so you can share it in that instance, and you can go down deeper. So I'll reply, for example, to I see Tunes here. So let me reply to Tunes. Use a video.
I think my video didn't work.
Oh, you know what? It might be because of the way, in the case where we're on video recording, so it's a chance our video cameras are not permitting kind of dual use. That's a possibility here, because mine is blocking me because it says it's in use. So I just left an audio file, which is just me doing what I just did here, and that's to Tune's comment. So yeah, you can just keep building into this, and if I preferred one person's, if I want to vote up somebody, I can vote them up in that as well. But that's the idea. So Josh, your point was smart though. I like that idea of maybe for long formed answers, that might be another interesting tie-in to just allow to drill in perpetually.
Did Paul disappear? I only see, there he's back. Okay. I'd like to express, so we got 20 minutes, I've got 20 minutes left today. I'd like to express an ambition for our next meeting, which is, as I said last time, I have a lot of enthusiasm for what we're doing here, and I'm chafing at the fact that every time I have to wait 2 weeks to continue, and I want to remove that limitation as soon as possible. So my ambition or aspiration is that next meeting will be the last time that that limitation exists. That as of the next meeting, this can become an ongoing conversation that any or all of us can participate in as much and whenever we want to. And so what I am proposing the next meeting consists of is a recording of a conversation about the platform, about this application. Because I've got a document with a whole list of questions, comments, things to think about, features that we might want to add. And I'm assuming that all of you do as well, or at least potentially will. And I don't think there's anything remaining to hold us back from initiating an ongoing atemporal conversation.
Josh, are you on Telegram by any chance?
I'm not, but I'm happy to join it.
Because quite a lot of us are on Telegram, and a lot of things we can share from there. So that may have the bootstrapping. But actually, if you just go to that clip page I share, then we can connect it there, and you can message me there. I can message you, and we can create new pages and everything. So I think the it's very interesting because I'm exploring and experimenting, but it is now actually working. Prepare is good for it, and uh, and I realized that and this is what I'll be doing in my own personal learning work, but it really was designed to be interpersonal from the first page, because you need to do it as an individual. You need to be on the same page with your current focus, okay? So at the end, if all your pages are connected meaningfully, then you can sort of shift focus. So what I'm saying is that I have this script pad page, which is Paul's room to start with, so that the only thing you need is one same page that is shared across your circle to actually be able to branch out and have these kind of conversations which are uh, continuous without being synchronous. That's the whole point. I mean, the this is why I've chosen ClickPad, because it gives you best of both worlds. It gives you uh, real-time collaborative editing on the same page where you are, and at the same time asynchronous messaging, and also annotation. And the whole point of the annotations is that can have links to other pages. So that's why the whole thing is designed, or the intention is to make this possible. ClickPad in itself is not enough. ClickPad doesn't really doesn't even give you search capability. You can't search. You can only search the file names, not the content. But it's a good meeting affordance. Yeah, I fully support your intention. Yeah, yeah. It makes
I
sense.
just go, wow, to the magicians, Michael and Anima and Jury. 652026. This is the birthday of something. I'm not even sure. So, wow, you're amazing. Amazing. We're all amazing. I'm curious, Jury and Michael, and anybody who has an opinion, how do we take both of what you've been presenting today and convene them as a synthesis? Could you help that 10-year-old who's now smoking hash to understand?
Well, if I could take a stab at it, Yuri, and while Josh is still here as well, I was listening to the conversation while I was figuring out why the URL was wrong, and I, I get very excited when I think about that kind of completely decentralized yet organized system that can come from something like what Yuri was talking about. It's a very intentional thing. The only the way I would think about it is that I don't really know how we can interpret necessarily what's in these videos except through some sort of transcript, from a standpoint of kind of adding it into that sort of system. But maybe this is like an artifact that gets attached to that dynamic decentralized system. It's just an artifact somewhere, that can be, is an annotation inside that system. Only because I think the video model, it's the idea of just distilling the essence of the value of a meeting or a group conversation or whatever's happening in the initial video, and then essentially attempting to refine that to its to find that kind of the powerful veins that you can mine from that conversation and those ideas. Iterating through it by video seems like it could be interesting as well, but it does seem to me to be more of a distillation process that at the end you end up with something that or several things that are valuable to different people. And to me, that's where it connects to what Yuri was talking about, is that
Yes,
the individual
yes.
veins are most
It's the
probably something, if you
cross.
could curate those, yeah.
Yes, it's the cross document. That's the or the
Yeah.
interplanetary connectivity. Oh, we're talking about this. Bring it always into a conversation. Should be on the same page. That's the key. That
And
that you
Yuri,
that yeah.
if I can interrupt, because I just don't want to forget what I'm about to say, is that if there is a structure in this technology that you were sharing, which I reminds me of something called Nostr, which is the thing that popped into my mind, but it's not the same, but it is part of the architecture is the same. If there is a meta framework that we can write around what we're doing here, that
Yeah,
allows that to insert itself into that. If it can, you can, for example, have an encrypted hash of what occurred here that could then
yeah,
be just ported. But I just imagine
yeah.
that being a big hash. If it's a 2 hour video, that is
No, no,
that's
no,
a
no, no.
monster hash. But if there's a
Uh, Michael, if you have any time, I really would like to uh, teach you a lot about IPFS because it would just change your life. Because
I'm very
think
interested.
about it. I just put it into the chat. Pinata give you, I think, 2 terabytes of storage for $20 a month.
Oh wow.
Well,
Yeah,
you can't compete with that, okay?
yeah,
And the best about it that it is, it's there. I
yeah,
know, if you operate any database or any server, it will break.
yeah,
There's no two ways about it. The whole technology is broken.
yeah. Yeah,
So so
it's like I said, it is interesting to me. So if there is a kind of a way we can wrap the internal output that comes in here in a manner that allows it to be ported into something like that, might be a really good um,
Well, I mean,
solution.
yeah, okay. And there is that, please check out that other link, the YouTube
I will.
transcript IO. It's amazing because it's really, because of the AI and the vibe coding, uh, people are rediscovering what I always wanted to do and and Grippat was doing and Pigos was doing. No sign up, no sign in. We don't need your email, okay? That's ridiculous. You for people to share capabilities with each other. You don't need any of that, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes sharing and the danger there is that this is another thing which is why IPFS is the savior, because it also solves the problem of security.
Mm.
Because you can't, that hash, is you are cryptographic guarantees of the integrity of that.
Yeah, and who's
A
gonna just
URL,
randomly pick a
anybody can
hash
hack.
to decrypt?
Yeah. No, I mean anybody. It's not the hashing because that
Yeah.
that actually guarantees that it will. The point is that you have a domain name, you operate a server, it can be hacked, and it
Yeah.
will be hacked. Okay, if you're doing anything of interest
Mm.
and
Yeah.
surveyed or whatever. Yeah. So to have cryptographic guarantees against all that is a real game changer. I don't know whether you heard this news with all this AI, they are so good at creating their new vulnerabilities. The whole thing will collapse, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely like the idea overall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for this actually for years now. And there are a lot of people trying to build this on blockchains. So I'm just spoke with somebody yesterday evening about Quartal, which is also they have a blockchain and they build all kind of apps on top of it. And but I said, what is the point? If the basis is like a cryptocurrency, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But the idea to be sort of free, so to have your data in a system freely available for everyone, that is sort of some holy grail that people are looking for years now. And I think if I hear what it is, it looks very close to something like that.
I mean, tell me, Michael, if you can find a time for that good for you next week sometime. I really would love to teach you a lot about IPFS because it took me 10 years to understand what is really going on. So, well, actually, no, it didn't take it, but it is lot to learn, and it's just so much easier to share. So I'm very happy to have a session at some point. But it helps me to organize, to summarize. You need to communicate these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I also thought I was sort of ready with my app, but now I hear this is probably I'm going to start all over again now. If you know what I mean.
So
Well,
Jury has a Telegram
yeah.
account. It's called Indie Lab. So if you all join Telegram, you'll be able to find them there. Jury, do you have to put up an invitation for that, or can people just find you?
No, yeah. No. I mean, on the page, if you connect with me on that page, then I think Town we already should be able to connect now. So that's the best way because then. Yeah, if you give me your Telegram name, I add you to the group. Yeah. If you
On
connect,
I'm
okay.
already there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you are. I put you. I got your Telegram name, so I can do that. But the point is that very soon we will not need Telegram anymore. I love Telegram. It's local first. It's very good. It has just one design flow. It is built in such a way that they can put a gun at the founder head, and that's it. That's the only thing that's wrong with it. And it actually
Coming in.
happened. Hmm?
Yeah, they put him in jail in France.
Can I propose, because now I'm really just about to go. Can I propose a plan for our next meeting? What occurs to me as a reason as a because we want to make this accessible as soon as possible so that this conversation can can be accessed and can bring in people other than the people who are present synchronously. And in order to do that, we kind of need to be able to bring up to speed anyone else who is coming in, not having been a part of these ongoing meetings. So I would propose that for the next meeting, we start from the beginning, which in my view was me stating a problem that I had, which is an inability to conduct the kind of conversation that I want to conduct, and expressing uh, a hope that I asked Mike to manifest for me because I know that he has technical capabilities that I don't have. And so I would propose that I start the next meeting with a 3-minute statement of the problem, and then I hand the ball to Mike for him to walk us through what he has created, how it works, and then for us to have a conversation discussing all of the different questions, concerns, features, pitfalls that we can all think of, and that then becomes our first ongoing asynchronous conversation, which each of us can continue beyond 2 weeks from today, anytime and as much as they want to.
Yeah. I, yeah.
The cat says yes, at least.
Yes.
And please, let's not call it the Holy Grail. We'll get hammered. Let's call it piece of shit or something.
All right, well, that feels like a good exit point for me. I'm super excited and can't wait to see where this goes next. And I hope that the next time is the last time that I have to wait 2 more weeks for the next for the next stage, for the next steps forward.
I'm curious about this thing having to wait for 2 weeks. I mean, I can pick up the phone to Jury anytime. I can pick up the phone to June. Why do you have to wait 2 weeks? I'm curious about that.
Well, to convene
Oh,
this group.
convene. Okay. All right. Okay.
Well, and I think too, Josh, you're trying to kind of say that if we make the next conversation literally the first kind of version of this asynchronous conversation, you can have a thought the following day, go back to it and bring it in and build on that from there. And
Yes.
then when we meet again in 2 weeks, we'll have this kind of body of thought that wasn't there at the end of the convening of the meeting, physical meeting. So, it is a very cool thought, and I mean, it's a very neat idea. You know,
All right. Well, I'm going to bid you all a good day. See you all in 2 weeks, and be well.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank
Be
you.
here,
well.
Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
Bye-bye.
we'll
thank
be
you.
able to, the next session we will be able to publish a URL, and then we'll be able to go into the URL and we'll be able to reflect on ourselves, which is exactly like Interstellar.
Yes,
We'll be visiting
exactly.
ourselves in the future and the past and commenting on our own videos while we're doing new video clips of commenting on our own videos.
Exactly. That's
But
exactly what we need
I
to do.
thought
Yes,
that
yes.
no,
Exactly.
see, a 10-year-old understands that.
Now, Paul, I just want to point out you're not allowed to go in as a different user and comment on your own comments. That's not allowed. We'll have to come up with some way to stop that from happening.
Can I
Okay.
go in as a different level of consciousness? So,
Yes. Oh, yes. No, it's the technology is moving so fast and it's very exciting. Um, what, a lot of bad's going to occur with this technology, but we can also do some really good things, and it feels very nice to use the efficiency that's just happening so rapidly to allow us to do things that are great. I did want to add something, if it's okay, to Yuri's point, and I think soon this is for you as well. So I have this side project that I tinker with, which is too much to talk about in uh, this conversation. But one of the things that I have done is I've recognized that um, this may come across sort of libertarian in the way people might think about it, but it really is when you said something just now about how uh, the Telegram technology is great until somebody puts a gun to the head of the developer.
We
And I
found
think
there. Yeah.
yes, and I'm sure somebody has found some sort of variation of a gun already. We just don't know it. But the the one of the consequences of my work is that I recognize that if you're really thinking about true autonomy and true like self-sovereignty, at the end of the day, you can have all of that, but if a force of power confronts you and you are not stronger, and it's just your physical being standing here between you and this force, that is most likely the last line of defense. At the end of the day, as a human being, that's where your power really truly ends or is maintained. And so when I think about technology, I think that if we can think of things through the lens of, and this technology which you're teaching me about or well learn about, um, what I do with this application that I'm working on is that every individual owns their own information. It is only physically held on their person or their device, not on an external apparatus of any sort. It only uses the internet as a way of finding consensus with another person, and everything is hashed in little tiny packets so that when two people connect, they agree that what they understand to be the same. And then a hash is built, a blockchain is built. It's different. The project is something a little different, but the idea is that each person's personal hash, if you will, is legitimately connected to legitimate things and legitimate people, but they are the only ones that actually have control over that hash. Only when people intersect and like cross paths and intentionally choose to intersect do certain bits of information get shared. Um, and the internet functions and is like a just simply like a notary of each individual's intersections to say these are legitimately real intersections that occurred and these people meant this intentionally. Is this way to summarize what I'm saying? But it has really got me thinking a lot about how the whole point of blockchain, which I think Toon is really clear on this, is that at the end of the day, the entire apparatus is built around the idea of clearing financial transactions, which are anonymous by the byproduct of the tool of money, the fungible unit of any sort of money. And so, in order for people to trust it, there has to be a general ledger somewhere on the internet that everyone agrees with and everyone can see and everyone knows everything in some sense. But the truth to me is that if I meet you and I trust you as a human being, like I'm using a consensus of my own judgment, and if you're
Yeah.
doing the same and we come to a judgment, I don't believe that requires external authority.
Absolutely
So
not.
what I
The
often
whole
think of
thing
is
is
that,
wrong. Yeah.
yeah. So to me, it's like if everybody is a node, how can we only interact with the internet in the effort to exchange things or to kind of find other people in that space in that sense?
Mm.
And that's something that I think about a lot, way more than I should.
No,
But I have a bit about proof of concept that fully functions in that. But to me, like you said, the Telegram, it is great. It's great until, yeah, okay, oh, you're the person with the key. Okay, so all the communications in the world, well, we've got this
yeah,
sorted.
yeah.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things that never leaves me, that but the whole purpose of it to me is built on a pretense of something that has always been artificial, that I
Yeah.
believe deep down inside, just like this idea of this digital commons, that we are not stuck. We can recreate our own commons, I think,
Yeah,
with almost
absolutely.
no external authority.
And it should be people-centered, and the
100%.
point is that the network should be for the participants and not for the providers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
It
whole,
should be a
that's
service.
the paradigm
It's a
shift.
it's a commodity it's a commoditization of what was technically not possible before. You know, there's many great
Exactly.
things that have come from it,
Yeah, you
but it's
needed this new protocol. That's exactly, you needed this. This is why IBF is so important, because it
yeah, I
really
can't wait to
is.
learn about it.
Yeah,
But
I
exactly.
look forward to learning about it.
I don't really understand your question about this node. Everybody is a node.
Are you talking with me?
Yeah. So what
Yeah,
do you
so if
mean with
it,
that?
well, it's an application that is meant to I am the source. I have a record of all of my cooperative interactions with people,
Exactly.
all of what I do in life, and it could be anything. Um, and that record sits and resides with me. If somebody physically holds a gun to my head and takes my phone and breaks into my phone, they could access. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a limit to, I think, somebody wants to steal the gold in my pocket. If they can physically get into my pocket, I ultimately can't. But to me, my physical being, if whatever this is as close to me as humanly possible and protected by me, is to me like the closest thing to like sovereign control over something. But at the end of the day, an outside force stronger than me can always take from
No,
me.
no, no, no,
People,
no, no,
but
no, no,
I
no.
mean, no, but
Actually,
what I mean by that is to say that I could harden it. Um, whenever I think about, maybe the best way to explain this, whenever I think about um, blockchain or any of these technologies, their core structure and the reason why they're built was to clear financial transactions, many of them, and from that you're seeing all of this new technology build out. If an external source holds whatever I'm working on, that external source has some sort of control over
absolutely.
either
Yeah.
the network.
Mhm.
So, like, there are
Yeah.
very decentralized blockchain systems, but in the end, you are in a network that is
And
controlled by somebody.
it is
Yeah,
really centralized.
no matter, and
Really.
it's very hard to bypass that. But if a person has control over their interactions in their physical phone, that's theirs. This is not limit. There's still potential risk. There's like no way to avoid that. But you're only distributing that in a secure way when you intersect with people that you
Yeah.
choose to intersect with. And the source and the truth of that sits literally right next to you, not on a shared ledger anywhere. But when two people interact, that the potential of being able to exchange ideas or knowledge about something becomes it's hyper decentralized in that sense. But
So
in
I
the
don't
end,
understand. I don't understand which problem you're trying to solve here.
I'm trying to solve a way for people to carry their own proof of their life and experience and knowledge. Or in the case of what I'm doing is about I mean, it's quite extensive, but let's think about it like this. If you wanted to go to a bank and get money from them, they require from you proof that you're worthy of money, right? Like they'll ask you, where do you
Mhm.
work? How long have you worked? Who do you know? Can somebody vouch for you? Do you have other assets or something? And then that bank will just create money on the concept that you're a legitimate person. So there's a committee that's decided that the papers and the documents and the people you know make you a legitimate person to give something to. But if you think about what we are as human beings, that system ignores tremendous aspects of what makes human beings special and valuable. So what I am attempting to do is essentially, if it's against to atomize the essence of each cooperative event to create a chain that shows a density, if you can imagine, of what a person does or who they cooperate with or they work with, that builds a level of trust, that the signals that you receive from that are in essence validating of a person in some various way, and another person can interpret that however they wish. And it's not forcing
Mhm.
anybody to do anything, but it's to say, let's say for a moment, and I'm speaking about this through economics in the sense that one of my biggest critiques, and I think Tuna, you and I have talked about this, is that I think that money misses massive swaths of the economic system that people are part of. So before money, really advanced civilizations developed that cooperated and managed and curated who were participating in those societies. When money came around, its fungibility and efficiency basically outcompeted instantly within a very, very short period of time that older system. But it also disembedded a lot of humanity from our lives. And if you look at the inequality of 5,000 years ago with money to the inequality today, the scale has changed, but the proportions are the same. Most people in the world do not have access to money as efficiently as incredibly wealthy people who already have amassed wealth. And so, in my mind, I am trying to figure out a way to validate and recognize all economic value, even if money doesn't care about it. Because I think it's lost. Like, so for example, if you're a dentist um, and you're helping people, you get to charge a lot of money. But before you were a dentist, somebody was making sure you were able to study. Somebody helped you pay for college. Somebody gave you all of these resources, and it might be a family member, it could have been a community, it could have been a fund, whatever. To take that person and just measure their output by their finished lessons and not count their extractive period is a recognition that they're part of a bigger society. They didn't just wake up and become a dentist and were able to charge a lot of
Mhm.
money. They were carried through that by a family, a community,
Yeah.
teachers, whatever. And that system, all of that invisible work, um, it's my idea to attempt to recognize that and
Yeah.
for
So
people to remember that value.
basically, you say you don't want a system with money. And I'm saying the same thing. So I
Yes,
think
yeah,
money is just a nuisance, and it's abused to create more disparity or let's say wealth inequality. So
yes.
you need to restore that, and it won't restore by itself. Like I don't think so. So you can create a system to restore it. So and that's sort of what I try to do. And once it's restored, you can just abandon it.
Well,
That is
exactly. I think it is. You're absolutely. It's like you're not competing with it. It's like I have this happen all the time where I'll just help somebody and then they kind of randomly will return some variation of a favor in the future that's
yeah,
unknown and
exactly.
it's not of equal value. It's just
Yeah.
a,
But
a
to
recognition
cut
that we're all part
to
of that.
cut a story short, and if you want to tell it to a 10-year-old, you just want a system without money. So because it doesn't make sense.
it's the currency. It's like
Yeah.
money makes so much of human economic value, and I mean economic value not in a monetary sense. I mean
Yeah.
what literally makes the world a better place is a tremendous amount of unseen economic activity.
Exactly.
And if people can touch that and they go, wow, this commons that we're in right now, all of us here,
Yeah.
this is productive value we are literally doing right now. And we
Yeah.
should be able to recognize that for each of us is part of that. And
Yeah.
it's like in a little resource pool of people interested in this idea. And I think when people start to remember that, it's like, wait a second, no, you have value, I have value, and money has its purpose in our system, but it's not about competing against it. It's more like saying to people, look at all this actual potential economic value we all have as human beings.
Yeah.
You could
It's,
be a young
yeah,
person
exactly.
helping somebody. Exactly. It could be anything. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
idea, but the essence of it is to be stored at the individual level, untamperable by an external authority.
Yeah. So
No
in my
external authority.
book, I write about let's say destroying monopolies, and this is also a monopoly. So if you are, let's say, an IPS controller, then you have a monopoly on a lot of data. So you want to break that, and if you have and I don't even know the word IPSF, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah,
But if
interplanetary file system.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you have such a system which sort of keeps itself alive, which is also something I was looking, but I'm not that let's say well educated in how to build such a system. But if Yuri is working on something like this and it's running, and to me that's magic, because that is sort of the key. It's like an atom bomb
Oh, so
on
sorry,
the
I'm not doing IPFS. It's
no, but
Juan Bennett started 10,
yeah,
11 years ago, and thousands of people built it.
exactly. So
Literally,
yeah, no, but
literally.
yeah. So, but I mean, that's to me, such a system is like an atom bomb on the world of almost everything, because once you have proper freedom, because the my journey started with researching self-sovereign identity. So, how do you become a self-sovereign identity a
Well,
person?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, how do
The
you control and
self-sovereign
be,
identity is
yeah? And it's the
the
most one of the well, it's always abused, because everybody says, okay, this is self-sovereign. No, it isn't. You know, you're only a
well, yeah. I
self-sovereign.
mean, the number
Yeah,
one thing about the self-sovereign identity. Oh, and you got to have a state-approved identity.
exactly.
What's self-sovereign about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only, to me, you know, the only self-sovereign identity is when you can decide to leave your identity behind. You start over again, and that's also with this video thing, for example. You know, it what is the problem? You want to store it for yourself. You want that nobody else can sort of take it away. But you know, if somebody else looks at it, he can take it, he can store it somewhere else that you can't touch it anymore. So what are you protecting? I think it's way more important that you can say, okay, I did all this, this is my history, and now I want to walk away from all this history, and I want to live in a cottage somewhere in the forest, and don't worry about everything I done in the last 10 years, because I made a mess out of it. So I walk away. So, and then you're a self-sovereign person. If anybody says, oh, no, you're not allowed, you need to stay, you need to solve all your misery, then you're not free. So and so I think that as I look at it, what Yuri is talking about, then is I won't call him the creator, but what he's talking about, to me, that's kind of looking at how you store data, because we were you were creating this, and that's why I ask, why are you ask why what problem are you trying to solve? What problem are you trying to solve with these videos? Is to have like an immutable communication system where everybody can join, and which is efficient, and where you have control over your own. So that's fine. And I think if you can store your data in a system like an IFPS system, that's even better, because then it's you're sure that it will be there. And the
Yeah.
same for me. So that's why I'm saying I so I'm almost done with my system. Then I can move it aside, and then it can start over again and building it on a proper, let's say, database structure, because that's what needed, and that's
Oh,
the most difficult. That's the most
sorry,
difficult
Darren,
part.
the most beautiful thing about IPFS that
Yeah.
it is a non-database. It just
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
This is the whole problem with databases. They are enclosures.
Yeah.
The nature of things cannot be enclosed. That's the whole point. That's where all the problems come from.
Yeah.
We want to lord it over them. We want to own it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can make something that is, because to me it's about transparency. Yeah? So to create a system, a financial system that can bring us from this system to a system where we have no system. So to bridge that, you need transparency. And how do you get transparency on something like an IFPS? I looked at blockchain stuff, but it doesn't work. It's just nonsense.
No,
So, but if you have, yeah,
blockchain was a major distraction. Was
exactly.
to blind people to with greed, get the best of generations wasting their life. That's the point of blockchain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nonsense system. It's a so and I like torrents. Torrents is, so to me that's always like, okay, these guys, they kicked the right to the the right people, sort of. So if you have a system that has this as foundation, that's, to me it's like, that's like heaven. Sounds like heaven to me.
Yeah. But it is, I
Okay.
think it is, you can have completely decentralized systems now. And at the end of the day, the internet itself is just kind of the in a kind of non-contained way becomes this housing for everything. But it's like free. There's no more gates. The key is like removing the gates, so you're not in these any constrained. Once the logic is always, if you go into a container of any sort, you're like, all right, now I'm in the parameters of something, and so it's really exciting that we're even just, I can't even imagine having this conversation like 10 years ago, or maybe it's possible, but like to see what's available now, it feels like we can now get into a big sandbox and even just claw at different ideas and test them so quickly.
Yeah, but to me we are still building bridges. So it is not that because it's so difficult when you talk to people just to make them sort of understand what we're talking about, and take these little steps out of the complete mind, let's say, indoctrinated mindset where they're in. So you need to do that step by step. You can't just present them like heaven, and you need to step away from this and just go there. Nobody is doing. Nobody will do it. Nobody.
So, if I can, I feel like I'm taking a lot of everybody's. Is it okay if I have one more thought that I want to add, but I know we most probably are going to wrap up soon. Is that all right if I introduce another thought? Okay. So one of the really exciting byproducts that came from this work so far, and this is, when you just said nobody's doing it, it's funny. I I I'm actually going to, I live in the state of Vermont in the US, which is a fantastic state. If anyone ever comes to the US, if we're still available to have people visit, Vermont is a beautiful place for people. So please come ever if you ever do. But we have lots of farmers markets, we have a small economy model in this state. And so one of the ways that I'm introducing this idea is on a very hyper local level, which is reaching out to small towns, farmers markets, schools, and I'm approaching it with the goal is for people, once people start using something that makes sense, I think when you get it, it's like it gets adopted, it makes sense. Like it's not even a question if somebody will use it. It's a matter of, can it have value? But if in that process there's a self-learning about the value of your participation, that's my hope for people that use the system. So one of the things that came from this is that if you have a group of people, a community, a resource pool, you could create a node that's just democratic, that again, its own thing, not part of me or anybody else. And the distinction is when you take this idea that I'm working on and you turn it into like a democratized node for like an organization of some sort, it can only function by recognizing who participates. So it's the opposite of like every structural system we know of, in the sense that the person curating the the organization, this node, essentially has to recognize everyone else's effort. Not the organization is just it is a byproduct of all of the inputs. So the inputs are recognized like a mutual credit or measuring the productive capacity, and that the organization's entire existence is revealed. It's like a revelation that the organization only exists because of the people in it. It doesn't exist as like, oh, this person's the king, or this is the organization. They're smart. Everybody gets to just piddle around and sell some time to them. Everyone that interacts is the recognition. So you cannot invert that in that system. And like I said, I don't have any rules for it, so people could do that. But I love that idea because of that the idea that only your positive inputs are the only things recognized. There's no, oh, I'll sell my time and then you decide what I get to be recognized for, or I'm not trading a token for my effort. The community sees my effort holistically in a model like that. So it was just something that came to my mind I wanted to share. But your point about adoption. So for me, this is the first foray, is to go into these cooperative communities and say, here's a way just to help manage that. And then they're going to, maybe one organization does go, well, this really recognizes everybody that contributes. And those people are only connected at the contribution point. And my hope is that catches a little. We'll see how it goes, but I'm starting in the next couple of weeks that project, so I'll give you all updates if it gets kind of exciting. But everyone I've introduced it to has sort of taken it, but I think the organization mode is a good way to start. But the autonomy by each individual is not connected except at the point of intersecting to connect and interact. Outside of that, there's no connection to anybody. It's kind of wild. Anyways, I'll stop.
Yeah. So yeah, I see a question here about cyclers. Paul, you want to ask something about cyclers? You tried it?
We're about to try it here in a small community. We're going to get the community license, about 60 people. We're going to run it for 90 days. Do you have experience of running it? Is your system different to Cyclas? Can you help me with that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very different. So to me, Cyclas is like I didn't really see it, but I was part of a group. It's called the Society 4.0 in the Netherlands that creates societies like that, small local societies that actually use Cyclas already. And I'm in contact with one of the leaders of those, and we have some very intense, let's say, communications so far that they don't really like me over there. Because Cyclist is like it's like a big box where all kind of, let's say, local coins, some cryptocurrencies, and everything is sort of thrown in, and which gives people the idea that I think all these initiatives are not bad per se. I call it a little. It's like a little shield. It will protect the community a little bit against, let's say, the big financial system that is sort of weighing down on any community at this moment. But let's say the fundamentals are sort of wrong, because every coin that is in there in that system is created out of thin air one way or another, or connected to a coin that is created out of thin air, which is the actual problem that we have. So, and that problem you're not solving on that way. Uh, Plus, we are in the Silvio Gazelle environment, so also let's say demurrage and those concepts are not there. You can introduce coins that have that. It is sort of possible, but I always say so. The only way to clean up the system if you don't interact with it. So the moment you start introducing a new coin that sort of is ethical, and you start mixing it with unethical money, which basically is what Cyclos does, in my opinion, then you already lost the game because um, people that can print money out of thin air can now buy into, let's say, coins that are created in a fair way. And as I was saying yesterday, I was speaking to somebody of or Cortal, and Cortal, I don't know if you know Cortal, but Cortal is it has a minting system. So as long as you keep your internet, let's say, connection to their server alive, you get a coin every whatever, and so that's how you build your capital. So instead of solving the problems in Bitcoin, now you just need to open your internet connection, and that's how you make money. And they are very far. It's quite a big organization. They build all kind of websites and providers and database things, and so everything that you can sort of build, they're doing there. So it's very interesting, but the basis is wrong. And this group, they started like minting and having their own coins, but at a certain stage, they said, okay, and now you're going to trade our coins against Bitcoin, and now you can trade it against. So now,
Shit coins.
yeah. So what is the point on having these nodes? If I can print money out of thin air, I can buy Bitcoins and I can buy anything. So what are you competing now against? So it just and that messes up the entire idea. That's also why I left a few years ago. And this guy I talked to is still there, and I spoke why I left this system, because I don't think it's a real good idea. Um, so yeah, perhaps you want to ask something about my solution, why it's different than
Yeah, I
other
think that's
coins.
interesting, and I'll set up some separate time with you as well. Can we just check the time? Is everybody okay to stay for
It
another
is
little bit?
six
Yeah.
o'clock. It's 6 o'clock.
I do have to jump off actually. I've got about
Okay.
15
I
minutes,
have to
but
go too.
yeah. But Paul, I also would say there's a name that if you're not familiar, a gentleman named Will Ruddick, who has something called the Sarafu Network. Um, it is uh, pretty darn impressive in its construct, and you can gate it so that it doesn't allow what Toon is saying. But it's an impressive system. Will Ruddick is quite an interesting person, and somebody who's dedicated his life to this process as well, and has a lot to show for his work. So something worth glancing at. Will Ruddick, Grassroots Economics, I think, is this book, and Sarafu Network is the idea. It is tokenized systems, which I think Thune is most probably more familiar with in that sense. But that is, but he's very interested. He sees the same problem we're all talking about. He just
Yeah, yeah, I remember
he's
that.
made a
Yeah.
decision to kind of, yeah,
I really need to jump in if you're leaving. I've
yeah.
been dealing with Will Ruddick for a year. Okay.
Oh, okay,
And this is a core issue. I want it recorded here. I want it in the transcript.
okay,
Will Ruddick is the problem. Okay.
okay.
Because he's difficult to deal with. He's highly temperamental. He's
Mhm.
judgmental. He does not play well with others. Okay.
No.
Every time I went to ask him for support, he would be high and mighty with me. Okay.
Mhm.
And then there was a point in time when he offered me software free of charge. And when I told him he had a client, he wanted to charge me $250,000. The proposal came in the next day. So I do not trust Will Ruddick. And he told me, I'm
No.
not joking about this,
No,
four
no,
days
it's a
ago, right? 4 days ago. I rang him. I said, "Okay, I'm ready to launch. I want to do a cycloss and I want to do a Sarafu because I need to see what's going to work."
Mhm.
And he was highly indignant that I was going to do a project with cycloss, and he essentially told me to fuck off. Okay,
Oh
so I
wow.
did. I spent 3 minutes on the call and said, "Okay, Will, blessings on your journey." And he apologized later, but I do not trust that man. Now,
Mhm.
having said that, he said, "Everything I have is on the website. So what will we do? We go and look at his content and see the website, and we'll end up
Mhm.
building it ourselves." Because what I was taught in wisdom schools is you go to the teacher to see how they tie their shoes.
Mhm.
Content is fucking, it's nothing. It
I,
means
I would I would just say that I agree with everything you were said about Will Ruddick as a person. He's a very, very different. The reason why I valued his work is, and I actually struggle with labeling what you just labeled, because I always wonder if I'm missing something, and I'm not a great reader of people sometimes. But um, what he has done is been able to make small networks that function and can carry on, and not that don't normally fail as much as other systems. But I deeply sense that he is lost in his own sauce. And when I speak to him, I like, half the time I communicate, I think the same thing. I'm like, how do I respond to that? And what I realized that it could be that he's a bit on a spectrum or something, but I also know organizations he works with because I've met with them on separate issues, and these are groups of people with lots of money, and they're not. They just seem like it feels like I'm on the edge of that system that I don't want to be a part of. But I also can see that, and I just don't want to discredit that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of networks of small groups of people having access to a currency that they normally wouldn't have access to, which is a positive thing. But he's got a real kind of white savior model going on in his head that feels very intense. So I hear you. It's kind of instinctual in me. I've noticed that, but I only say that because I have seen some of the results and the data, and it's impressive. But I do sense I, I have the same general opinion of that, and I didn't know about that idea that he is also looking to sell this system, which is something I would not have imagined.
so.
So that's
Yeah, so look,
surprising.
it's quite simple. We got the original instructions at least 300,000 years ago. Okay, and we were reminded 2,000 years ago. The original instructions are love. That's it. Love each other, love your. Okay. Now, it depends who deploys it, right? So you have Will
Mhm.
Ruddick deploying it one way, you're deploying it another way, Jury's deploying it another way, Tune's deploying it another way. What we have the capacity here to convene is a synthesis. What you've just produced today, amazing. What Tune's going to produce, and in fact, Tune is going to reproduce that in 2 weeks. I'm amazed by you guys, right? And Jury saying IPFS for the world. So by the time we get here in 2 weeks, we'll have all evolved. Hopefully, we'll have all evolved around the same conversation, around, you know, telling a 10-year-old how to use hash, which sounds like a great idea to me.
Yeah.
As a Vermonter, I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
But
No, so
Tune, when
I
we
do have
go
to
deep,
run.
yeah,
I
we
do
go.
have to run now, but
Yeah.
thank you for sharing
Wonderful.
that last point,
Thank you.
because I actually I've always been in that relationship in a vacuum. So my instinct is kind of slightly confirmed on some part. But listen, have a wonderful week or two, and I hope you all are well, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. And I just want to put something else on the record. Today, I got my mother to sign my estate to me. I,
Wow.
I'm standing in my own standing. This document says she bore me as a birth certificate, and I'm taking my own birth certificate over and driving my own vehicle. So, Tune, fully get you on the sovereignty. And this is something we probably need to build in. How does a member of this nodal network declare? their standing, declaring their honor. And I think Michael, I put it in the text there on the chat. You are remembering ancient Brehon law because each person had what was called an honor price based on their face. Each human has a value just for being alive. And that's not UBI, it's everybody is valuable towards how they contribute. And if we have a dispute and you are fined, you have to pay your honor price. And if you don't pay it, your family has to pay it. Now that's thousands of years old. So it's going back to tally sticks, it's going back all that, and we're getting the capacity, as you say, to conceive the things quickly and clearly. And Josh is right about asking us to be really crisp with this. So
Yeah.
blessings on us all. Tune, do you want to check out, or are you good?
Yeah, I can stay a little if you want to have me explain some things. It's
Yeah,
fine. So
yeah.
that the
Take
others
care,
can
all.
go.
Yeah,
We don't need to bore everybody.
I've
No,
been
you're not
called
gonna
away
bore
quite
me.
drastically, so I think the patience has run out. So I
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you,
See
brother.
you, Gary.
That's okay.
enjoyed it very
Bye-bye.
much.
Okay,
Thank you
Yuri.
very
Michael,
much.
Talk
yeah.
to you soon. Yeah. So
Thanks, Jury.
Okay, and
Happy
time to
evening.
close it. Yeah.
Happy evening.
it's the right bottom. Oh, he's gone.
So, are you
Okay.
okay to leave the video running?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
So, I'd like to hear a little bit about what you're building. And now that you've heard about IPFS, what are you dreaming about building?
Yeah. So, yeah, as I said, so I started with thinking a half year about self-sovereign identities. Before you can talk about money, you need to solve that issue. So how do you get in control? And also how can you walk away from it? And and I don't know if you heard the story, but I did this all before I ever heard about Silvio Gesell. And I knew that something had happened in Wörgl in Austria, but I didn't know the story about Silvio Gesell. Um, so basically, I'm saying, and I'm living. But I think I told my story already. I don't. It's why I came to Africa. I want to do mass housing. Then I figured out that people can't afford their houses, so that's when I started to look into the financial system. Then I found out, okay, this this is really a bunch of nonsense, and especially let's say how money is created. To me, it's like it's ridiculous. It's complete that people allow this is like beyond me. So everybody should be talking about this. That's the only real issue that we have in the world, that we allow a bunch of psychopaths to create money out of thin air and basically use it to create monopolies and scarcity for everybody else. It's just ridiculous. So that's and that was exactly the time that Bitcoin also came through. So I did a lot of research into Bitcoin. I also a lot of people were talking about UBI, so I looked into that. What is that? How does it work? And I came to the conclusion it's all a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't work. You can't use cryptocurrencies to solve UBIs
Mm,
because it's a UBI. For a UBI you need transparency, and let's say cryptocurrency is the opposite. So I said, okay, there is only one way, and which is just flip the coin. So everything that they do, you shouldn't do,
yeah.
which is basically every transaction should be transparent, and also money should be created by everybody. So it needs to be everybody that participates has needs to have a share in the money creation, and that's the only way to solve it. Because if you don't do that with one aspect, then people will still be able to create coins out of nothing.
Mm,
And basically, if you look at all the cryptocurrencies, let's say Bitcoin, of course, but also let's say Monero, it's always started by a bunch of people that took, let's say, 80%, 90% of the coins, and then the rest can,
yeah.
let's say, you know. So even if we would go to Monero or to Bitcoin, the wealth inequality in the world would be worse way worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not solving anything with it.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest issue. And then you have some, let's say, if we talk about cyclos, you have some. So I looked at all these solutions basically, and I said, okay, let's say I always have some questions that I ask. How is the money created? Is it
Mm,
transparent? Um, and if it's not one of these two, then you can see, okay, this is where it will go wrong, and it always goes wrong. So I saw a lot of, let's say, local coin initiatives, and the guys that did the initiative, they run away with the money, or there's always something. So it doesn't really solve the problem. So I try to do something real more fundamental to say,
mm,
okay, so if you want to create money in a fair way, how do you do that? If you want to create, let's say, and that's probably a discussion I still need to have with Josh, because he doesn't believe me about the money supply. I say you should just pin the money supply, just make it one figure per person, because and my argument is very simple. You have people that created trillions and trillions of money out of thin air, added it to the money supply, and it still works. Anybody that claims that you need to have control over the money supply to make the economy work is just ignorant. It's just because it has nothing to do. The only thing what happens if you create more money, if you increase the money supply, is that you have inflation and that you hurt a lot of people that don't have access to that money that is created. So to me, any control on the money supply, reducing it or improving it, with the idea that you do something good for society, you still need to prove it to me that that is true, because I don't think it's true. I think it's better that the money supply is constant, so that the prices are as constant as they can be. So anybody that buys a bread knows, okay, this is what a bread should cost. And then in the end, because what I think is this: once you have a fair money creation system, and also that people can take on, because when you step away from the financial system, because that is what needs to happen, and Cycles is not stepping away, he's just
yeah.
embracing everything that there is and put it in a big basket. So
Yeah.
which is wrong. You should walk away from all that crap, in my opinion. So once you step away, what people don't understand is that all the infrastructure that is being built around the world is now ours, becomes ours, because it's not attached to the money, because we don't use that money anymore. Who's going to use that house that you're living in? Nobody else, because they claim they have money that nobody nobody uses anymore. So we just take possession of our houses, our cars, or everything.
Got
So
it.
that is a big step. And then when the money supply, let's say the money creation is let's say democratized, if you want to use a dirty word, then the wealth inequality will just change so fast. Within let's say probably in 2 years, everybody in Africa will be as wealthy as everybody is in the Netherlands, in matters of resources, access to resources, and
Mm.
being safe and security and those kind of things. Perhaps their houses are still not as beautiful as some parts in Switzerland, but um, you solved a major issue in the world when that happens. So yeah, that's what I try to do.
So I hear that philosophically. So tell me exactly then what you did with what's it called? One coin, something coin?
One coin per hour, I call it. Yeah.
Okay. So
So and it's
explain it to a 10-year-old.
yeah. Well, that is not too difficult actually, because it's a very simple system. So everybody receives one coin every hour,
Yeah.
and that is how money is created. Let's call it like that. But you also need to pay a little reduction, a little percentage is being withheld. And in my case, that percentage is 0.005%, which is the same as 1 divided by 20,000.
Okay.
So, and that is important, because if you have one coin every hour, but you pay a fine, let's call it a fine of one, I mean, I come to that fine word later, but if you pay a fine of 1 divided by 20,000, you will never get more coins in circulation than 20,000. Because in the moment that you have 19,999 coins, then you pay a fine of 1 coin and you receive 1 coin. So you can never go over 20,000 coins. So every person that participates creates 20,000 coins. And that is the money supply. So that is the money that is in circulation. And it's created by every individual separately. If somebody dies, his let's say his money creation process ends. So that 20,000 coins will evaporate from the system. And if somebody gets born, he starts to create, he starts getting 1 coin per hour, but he also needs to pay this little fine. And then he will, in about 5 years, he will have 20,000 coins and he will never be able to move over this 20,000 coins. So that is how you make the money supply stable. And this percentage, this 0.05, you can choose another percentage. When you choose another percentage, let's say a lower percentage, then you get way more coins. So then you get 100,000 coins per person. Now, if you look at the money supply in the world, it's about $40,000 per person. Okay, at this moment, if you take the 350 trillion in debt divided by 8 million, you end up with sort of 40,000 coins, $40,000. Okay, but the money, let's say, the money, how you call it, the wealth inequality is so extreme,
Yes.
that you don't need 40,000 coins per person, I think, because a lot of that money is going to nonsense, buying Rolls Royces and airplanes and stuff you don't really need, standing still on the floor, stuff like that. So 20,000, if you take 20,000, then I guess, and that's just a guess, that if you buy a bread, let's say a bread costs normally $1. If I have 20,000 coins, then a bread will probably also be one coin. That's what I expect. But we need to see. I don't think it's very important if it becomes 1 coin or 2 coins or a half coin. But I think we're in the ballpark, because it's like half of the money supply that the real world is using, and the other half that is, let's say, being stacked by people that are extremely wealthy is not really part of the economy. You don't need it. So that's why I chose this 20,000 number. Also, because when you use that 1 divided by 20,000, and that's just mathematics, then you reach the 20,000 coins in about 10 years. If I go to 100,000 coins, it might take 100 years, 120 years before you get there. And you want to get there sooner, because you want to have a stable money supply relatively soon, and not in a century. So that's why I choose these parameters. If you want to have different parameters, you can talk about it. You can also say I get 1 coin per week or 1 coin per year. But I think if you do 1 coin per hour, and you have this 1 divided by 20,000 demurrage, which is what Silvio Gesell called it 120 years ago in his books, then you're fine. Now, why is it good that you pay a fine? This fine is actually not a fine, because this fine is used to generate this 1 coin every hour. So what you take away from one side, you give back to the other side. So if I have 20,000 coins, I give this 1 coin to myself. So I get a fine, and so that is sort of your base level. But if I have 1,000,000 coins, then I pay 50 coins every hour. So I get one, but I need to pay 50. And these 50 coins go to people that have 0 coins or have almost no coins. So it's also like a safety net, a social safety net, what you create. And why is it important to have money be reduced instead of having interest? And that is what Silvio Gesell is talking about. So he was concerned about two monopolies, monopolies. The one is when you add, so if you have gold and I can hoard this gold, and on the other side I have a farmer that produces milk, what I can do if I have gold, then I can wait until the farmer drops his money. So I can hoard my gold, and the longer I hoard it, the
Yeah.
more I squeeze this farmer.
Yeah.
And that is all that is just gold, and gold doesn't go up in value. Let's say if you don't if you don't take in account money printing, if you would only have gold, then the people that if there's only gold in the society as money, then the people that hold gold will have always like a stick for the people that don't have gold to beat them with, because they can wait.
Yeah.
And so, and that what was happening in Virgil in the 30s. They had a massive deflation, and then they said, okay, we're gonna just create money out of nothing. So the government, let's say the not the government, but the say the municipality just
Yeah.
created. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that story, but they made
Yeah.
these vouchers, and they stamped them. So the vouchers went down in price. So each week they went down. So these people say, okay, I need to pay with these vouchers, otherwise it's
Yeah.
and that's helped to get money circulating in that
Yeah.
village again. It worked amazing.
Yeah.
so
For
so
two
now
years.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and I doing basically the same, because with that demurrage, so your money that you have goes down in value
Yeah.
instead of putting it in a bank and letting it get interest and getting it
Yeah.
more, because that is sort of the way to get this wealth inequality.
Yeah.
So now, and the nice thing is that because Silvio Gesell couldn't do that back then, but now you can do this on a phone,
Yeah.
because calculating this demurrage is well, it's not very high, very complicated mathematics, but it's still quite a lot of mathematics, because
Yeah.
you have like if I have 20 hours, it's this 0.005 to the power of 20.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of powering and stuff like that. But it works perfectly. So and it you can see it if you log in on my system, it's already running. I have a website. It's like a website, but it looks like a financial app. You log in, you immediately get thousands of these coins, and then every hour you see one coin arriving in your wallet. And but every hour you also see your coins going down with this demurrage. And you can do transactions, and it just works. And so and now to come to the Yuri story. I started to do this. I tried to do it in a fully decentralized way, so you have your own, because what you do is you create your own account, but you need to put your picture in it. You need to put your, let's say, some identifiers, the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, perhaps some scars, whatever, so that another person that you transact with can see, okay, this is the person that is, let's say, on this, call it a note, or call it whatever you want. I don't like these all these. Actually, I hate these. All these Bitcoin jargon. So I talk about coins. I don't want to talk about tokens and all those
Yeah.
nonsense,
Yeah.
because to me it's just parts of a coin. So what are you talking about? You just want to be interesting. Um, but yeah, so you create your own account, but the problem is you can create as many accounts as you want, because you are a self-sovereign person. So
Yeah.
it's nobody can force you not to do this. Now, the trick is that it is up to the other people that you transact with to check if you have only one account or that you have more accounts.
Yeah.
And so the idea is, so from the beginning, I always said every transaction needs to be transparent. So everybody should be able to see everybody else's transaction. And there's no way around it, because if you don't do that, people can print money out of thin air, and then your system will end up in
Yeah.
misery always.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. So everything needs to be open, And I always say, if you want to, because some people say, oh, yeah, but if I, if I want to do things that my wife doesn't need to know, how do I do that? Yeah, you still have gold, you still have diamonds, so you can still build a cryptocurrency on top of this, but the money that we need to buy bread or to do, let's say, I always call it to lubricate barter, because that is
Yeah.
basically what you do. So to lubricate barter, you can
Yeah.
create an ethical coin that everybody is equal, that nobody can create out of thin air. So that should be the basis. What people build on top of that, I can't block people to do all kind of nonsense. People can do that, whatever they want. But that should be the basis. Um, so I try to do that in a decentralized way. That is possible, I think. It is it, but you need some good mathematicians to
Mm.
build, and I call it a sort of a sentinel system, like a system
Mm.
that guards this, that just does some cross-checking, and then if you see a cross-checking, then okay, then and what happens if somebody does this? Your coins become worthless. But everybody that accepted coins, because everything is transparent, you can follow every coin to its source, to the moment that it was, let's say, created, to the moment that this one coin was given to you. So I can follow every coin back to its roots. And if
Mm.
somebody uh, was having a second or a third or a tenth identity and built and got 10 coins every hour instead of one, then all these other nine become worthless. But also all the coins that are derived from that account also become
Mm.
worthless. So
Okay.
it can happen that you
Yeah.
have coins that suddenly are gone because you didn't really, your Sentinel, your little piece of software that checked, that did all these cross checks to see if a person didn't have two accounts or more, didn't work properly, or you didn't pay attention, or you accepted money from a guy that you knew already that he has more accounts. So that can also happen. Um, so yeah, that is the system. Then so I call it personal blockchain. So everything that you do, all the transactions that you do, is like say is your personal blockchain. Let's call it like that. Um, and I'm able to do that. Let's say decentralized. But then, so what happened is that, and that was like a year ago. I read a quote of a guy. I think it was Michael Fouché, and he said that the only thing that power, I don't know the quote exactly, but the problem with power, the only thing that they can't stand is when you don't give attention to power, when you
Mm.
take away
Mm.
your attention. And basically, he said is if you walk away from power, then they're powerless.
Yeah.
But once you start fighting them, you will
Yeah.
you they
Boom.
will be stronger. It
Yeah.
will you'll make them stronger. So the only
Exactly.
way is to stop giving them attention.
Yeah.
So, and I also saw that you can't mix, you shouldn't, or you can't, you perhaps you could, but you shouldn't mix, let's say, ethical money that is created in a fair way. You shouldn't mix that with unethical money, because then what is the point of having ethical money?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
value is gone.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, and a year ago I said, okay, the only way this coin system will work is that we walk away from the
Yeah.
system, and once
Got it.
we
Yeah.
away, then we start using it, not before.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to be sort of committed to
Yeah.
start using it.
Yeah.
Now, the strange thing is when you think about it like that, I believe that this walking away will go very fast.
Yeah.
Many people think, because
Yeah.
they are thinking, okay, we're going to use cryptocurrencies, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Once our group that uses cryptocurrencies is big enough, then everybody else will slowly come to us. But that is a
Yeah.
long process.
Yeah.
I think that is the wrong way of thinking, because the government will kill you once you
Yeah.
start doing that.
Yeah.
They will just bomb your city, your land, or whatever.
Yeah.
Once you're starting, like Gaddafi, they
They're
just will
doing it in
just,
Gaza. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they will just destroy you. So don't do it. Just don't use it. Just talk to each other and say this system is bad. Every policeman, every army soldier needs to know this. And once these people understand what they're actually doing, then you step away and then you create a new system. And when you step away, that is my thinking, then you have the internet providers on your side, because the people that run these internet providers are also like policemen. These are people that you need to have around you to step away. So you can just make, let's say, I always say, you can even use the once you step away from the system, the infrastructure is still there. So you can go to a bank, you can use their servers to run your 1 coin per hour system on. You know, you don't need to make it decentralized, because when you do it decentralized, basically you're saying we need to make it strong so that we can fight the government, so that nobody can stop us. That is always the idea of decentralized. So it's a fight, and I don't believe in that fight. It's a walkout that we need to do. We don't need to fight them. When we walk out, that is the only way to destroy them, and not by fighting them, because we will just make them stronger. They just destroy you and make you an example and see, okay, this coin they failed because it was illegal. We bombed them, and so don't ever think about it again. That's the wrong way. So so that's why I build it now with a database, just a centralized database, because I didn't like the idea to build it on top of some other blockchain based on Bitcoin. But if Yuri now says, okay, we can have let's say a database that is just scattered around, and because it's scattered, it's the same thinking as I do, because I say you just scatter all your transactions around, make everybody own their own part of the transaction blockchain or whatever, let's say ledger, and then you're there. So if he can provide that, that's amazing, because then we can just implement it on that system, give everybody it, and then everybody can decide when they start using it or walking away. So it is not really connected. The other beautiful thing about, I think, this 1 coin per hour is that if you develop it on 2 islands, if I have one island that starts in a certain way and another island that starts, and these people never interact with each other, after 10 years, when they come together, the value of their coins are the same, as long as they also use 1 coin per hour and use the same demurrage. Then the value of this coin is the same as the value of the coin of the other island. So you will never need any exchanges. So you call it forex. You don't need forex, because you don't need to look at that economy. As long as the money is created in the same fair way, you're equals. Once you start saying, okay, but this island has 2 coins per hour, then you need to do a sort of forex, because then it's not fair. So that is the other nice thing about it. And a few months, yeah.
And
But
choose
that's
just
basically
recording,
basically the
if
story.
people are watching this, what is the URL where your application sits?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's called Abundomi, because it is, let's say, I
Put
combine
it in the chat,
economy. Yeah. Should I put it here?
Please put it in the chat, so if
Yeah.
anybody's looking at the video afterwards,
And domi.com.
.com.
Yeah, and I have one. Oh, sorry. Wait. That's one. Coinh.com. You see them?
Yeah. OneCoinH.com. Okay.
Yeah.
OneCoinH.com.
Yeah, 1coinperhour.com.
Abundant.com. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
I
in my
have to go
book,
myself. I have to go myself now, brother. So,
no
do
problem.
you want to wrap up?
No, so yeah. I think if I look at the group, it's amazing. I think we have the main pillars covered. So I'm really excited by this.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sticking in for so long. I know it's late for you there. So blessings to Kigali, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And I'll put this video. I'll find out where to put it. The last time I couldn't put it in what we're talking about using. So maybe now that CryptPad is working, I'll be able to put it in that centralized place. I'll put it
Yeah,
in email as well, just for legacy sake as well.
great. All right.
Thank you so
Paul,
much. Stay tuned.
thank you also so much. And next time you need to talk about you.
Maybe.
Yeah,
About automatically say yes. Okay. See you.
yeah. So I learn more about you.
Okay.
Okay, see you
Bye
later.
bye.
Okay, bye bye.